Hello, you're listening to the Channel podcast. I'm your host, Perkins, your resident psychic medium. Today's an interesting episode. First of all, it's our new format. I decided maybe I'm going to try things without video and just focus on audio. That way you can put your phone down, or you can play it on your computer at work if you're sitting in a cubicle, or if you're in your car, and you don't have to worry about looking at the screen. You're not going to miss anything, folks. We're going to try and be as descriptive as possible and focus on audio. And today is a perfect episode to launch this new format because we're going to be investigating this interesting phenomena known as reverse speech. Now, as a paranormal investigator, for years I've worked with something called electronic voice phenomena, as well as ITC, which ITC stands for instrumental trance communication. And essentially what that is it was discovered in the early 20th century by Friedrich Jürgensen, a philosopher in I don't know if it was Germany or Belgium. I can't remember off the top of my head, but in any case, he was recording bird songs in a forest because he was an avid bird watcher. And when he listened back to his tape, and this was in the early days when tape recorders were brand new, he noticed a few voices that shouldn't have been there because he was all by himself. And one of those voices was the voice of his mother calling out his name. And his mother had been dead for several years. And so Jurgensen essentially discovered electronic voice phenomena, where essentially you can get voices of the dead on tape. Well, what we're going to talk about today is a little different. These aren't voices of the dead. They are voices of the living, but there is a paranormal element to it. And my guest, Peter, has... Well, should I call you Pete or Peter, first of all? What's your preferred name?
Pete.
Pete. Okay, good. I'll call him Pete. He is... I don't know what to call you, Pete. I kind of want to call you like a fellow paranormal researcher / technical wizard. What do you have a title for yourself, first of all?
No, not at all. Just perhaps a little bit eccentric, I guess.
Eccentric Pete. I like it.
Eccentric people will go with that.
All right. So you know far more about reverse speech than I do. First of all, how should we define it? What is your definition of this phenomena, please, for the listeners?
I would say reverse speech is voices of the unconscious mind. It's as if to say whatever comes out in reverse, you can't. Basically, it always tends to be a true thought.
Right.
You know?
Okay. So essentially, you're saying that it's whatever we play in reverse when we record the audio of a speech. If we play it in reverse, we're capturing the truth of the unconscious mind, is what I'm gathering from what you just said, right? Okay.
Yes.
Why don't we start with explaining what reverse speech is, like mechanistically, how it was discovered, if you know, and how you came into it. I think that's an interesting story.
Yeah. So for me, as a teenager, I was, sort of 15, 16. I'd heard quite a lot about, reversals in music, like backward masking. So, like as a curious sort of like heavy metal head, I pulled up my copy of Led Zeppelin 2 and decided to give that a spin backwards. And I certainly heard some things in there which I just presumed at the time were backward masking and didn't necessarily think much more about it at the time. So to differentiate backward masking, a very good example of backward masking is a track by Pink Floyd's called Empty Spaces. And it's quite funny. So if you was to play the record backwards, you'd actually hear there's a message on there which is something on the lines of, "Congratulations, you have discovered the secret message of old Pink. Please send your answers on a postcard to the funny farm." I can't remember the full description, to be honest with you, but yes, I mean that's backward masking. So I presumed that when I heard like some things in Led Zeppelin at the time that was just backward masking. It would have been many years later that I sort of realised it was reverse speech. Yeah. So what backward masking is? So in a recording studio. It's quite simply they'll say something forward, then if you like flip the audio so that it's backwards, So therefore, that when somebody would play the record backwards, it would then play forward.
So it's intentional, that
It's
part.
intentional, yes, yeah. So which
Right.
is what I presumed I heard when I first played like a Led Zeppelin record backwards,
Right.
which it clearly wasn't.
Okay. So how did you come to the conclusion that it clearly wasn't?
Well, this was many years later, but I'd heard it got on to hearing David John Oates, the founder of ReverseSpeech.com. He was doing a show on the James Whale radio show back in '97. So this would have been like 10 years after I'd first done some reversals on Led Zeppelin records and not necessarily thought much about it.
Okay, so David Oates is the founder of Reverse Speech, and he's from where? I think he's from Australia, if I remember.
Yeah, that's right. He's Australian.
He's an Australian, and he had lived in America for some time. And I remember hearing of him first on the Art Bell show. Where did you first find him? Was it his own show, or did you hear of him through Coast to Coast?
No, it was on BBC. James Whale used to do a show on the BBC. Just called the James Whale Radio Show, and he was on there. So that was my first introduction to what actually reverse speech was. So of course,
you come into this radio show and you learn about reverse speech through David Oates, and you're thinking back to the days when you were a little younger and you tried playing Zeppelin in reverse, and you're thinking, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, pretty much. So and then after that, it was, it was still, for me, it was still a time prior to the internet. So it would have been a few years later that, I eventually got on the internet and was, able to find his site and, discover his work, which again, then made me curious yet again to actually start. And that's when I started doing reversals myself, sort of like the very early 2000s.
So we talked about what the masking is, where it's an intentional thing where a band or someone making a recording will say things in a way that if you play it in reverse, it gives you a different message. So the difference with actual legitimate reverse speech is what? What would you say is the theory?
I don't necessarily, I wish I had all of the answers for this, you know what I mean? But as much as I can say is, it's anything that's coming out in reverse is generally a truth.
Right.
I wish I knew of a better way of describing it, really. But
I've thought of a bit about this over time, and as far as I can tell, some theories like what David Oates has talked about is the idea that when we speak in any language, whatever we're saying, especially when we're not thinking about what we're saying too much, but we're more emotionally involved, it's as though our psyche or our conscience, or even something deeper than that, maybe the soul, weaves into the recording. If you're recording your voice, weaves into it several layers of messages. And when you play it in reverse, it's like bits of those, because it's not like an entire sentence for the entire duration of a person talking. As far as I know, they jump out at you when you're listening to speech in reverse. Pete, do you notice that it's just little segments that give you little snippets?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's right. I mean, listening to like a reverse conversation. You are picking the phrases out of gibberish. So you'll hear like gibberish either side of like a very clear phrase of speech.
Right. So it's not a perfect thing, but it seems to infer that there are more mechanisms at play within our normal speech than we're conscious of. That there's some force within us that's laying in truisms. And so you say it's usually talking about something true. Now we have a few audio recordings, quite a few, that we're going to play and analyze together here this evening. But what I wondered is, like, we often hear in reverse speech what's said forward is almost the opposite or contrary to what's said in reverse. Is that a constant, or are there some cases where what's picked up in reverse speech is actually congruent and in alignment with what's said in forward speech?
Yeah, sometimes it's definitely like it in line with what was actually said forward in the first place. Yes. And I will have some examples of that to play you to sort of show that as well.
Wonderful. So let's Let's start with some of these reversals that you've sent me. Now, you had talked about being younger, and your first reversals were with the Led Zeppelin record. So we've got a couple of clips here from Led Zeppelin, I see. I have two of them, actually. Would you like to introduce one of them?
Yeah, okay. So both of these are from Heartbreaker. So needless to say, I'd like to give the audience a chance to see if they can decipher. So yeah, in short, these are both clips from Heartbreaker off Led Zepp 2.
All right, so I'll play clip number one, and then we'll review it. Here we go. That's very interesting. Okay, so the first part of the clip is the forward, and then there's a quick break, and then you hear the reversal. I'm going to play that again, actually, so take a good close listen. Very interesting. All
yeah,
right.
but that one, I do think it's interesting how he's singing, by the wicked ways of love, and and in the reverse, I have seen a wicked woman, so that's what I hear in that one.
I hear that too. Let's play it one more time. So the forward is the wicked ways of love, and then the reverse is I have seen a wicked woman.
Yeah, let's give a bit more context. I mean, sorry, I was about to say, to give a little bit more context. I think it goes, some people die, and some people cry, and some people die by the wicked ways of love. Would have been that full phrase of the song, if you like, but I've simply chopped the reversal.
Very good. Okay, let's listen again. I've seen a wicked woman. I can hear that very clearly. Okay, that's really fascinating. Okay, so that wasn't intentional. That was totally a legitimate reverse speech, as far as we know, right?
As far as I'm aware, there's no possible way that's not backward masking. That's just natural reverse speech.
Very good, very good. Let's play clip number 2 by Zeppelin. Now, do you want to introduce this one?
Again, it's from the same track, Heartbreaker. I don't necessarily get the meaning from this, but it's certainly a little bit like it's dark and sinister though.
Now that's good, because in this clip you slow it down in the second play of reversal. So I think I heard something about horsemen. Does that jog your memory, what it said forward and then what the reverse was?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So the reversal is that your son must be out with the 4 horsemen.
All right. So that's what it says in reversal. Your son must be out with the 4 horsemen. Let's play that again. Very interesting. Okay, so this is reverse speech on some famous band, but now we're going to start getting into a little more independent reverse speech. I don't know what to call it. Personal experiences. You've been experimenting with this for how many years now, Pete?
Well, yeah, most certainly since the very early 2000s. So get it on for 20 years.
Very good. That's as long as I've been doing readings for. So you're kind of they say you put your first 10 years into something and you're an expert. But what is it? If it's 20 years, I think you're a wizard, bona fide wizard. So you're an eccentric. Pete the eccentric wizard is what I'll call you. Now, number 3 here that you sent. Do you remember what that one's called?
Yeah, I'd really like to explain this one to you. So,
Oh,
and I will say, absolutely 100% today, I've had verification off my friend about this reversal, that he absolutely did not manipulate or lie about this in any way. So, so in this reversal, my friend knew that I was into reverse speech, and he left me he left me a phone message, which was just just pretending to speak in reverse. So pretty much like this, like, yes, but you know, so just pretending to speak in reverse. And amongst his reversal is something very revealing. So at that, I would like you to play the reversal.
all right. Here we go. This is Pete the eccentric wizard's friend in reversal. Oh, now that's interesting. I think I heard something there. Do you want to go into? I think I heard "ain't got a clue."
That's right. Yeah. So with this one, I clearly heard "ain't got a clue" what I've been saying. So for someone who was speaking absolute gibberish down the phone, it just blows my mind.
Right.
And I say, I've just, I mean, I've checked with him, and in fact, if you listen to it very carefully, you can sort of hear the backward bit before he's saying it. So it sort of verifies that it's in reverse.
Right. It's very fascinating. So he leaves you a voice message, knowing that you are playing around with reverse speech. He's leaving it in a fake reverse speech, and then when you reverse speech his fake reverse speech, it says, "Here we go." Okay, now that was forward, and now this part's
That's forward.
the
Yeah.
actual reverse speech. Okay, I'm going to say it at the same time. Ain't not go. Wait. Ain't got no clue what I've been saying. That's really.
It's a good one. I really like that.
That's a really good one because that's genuine reverse speech. That and that even the forward speech doesn't have to be real speech, but the subconscious will still inlay some kind of message behind it.
It's still got it there. Yeah, that's for me. When I heard that, that was absolute. Like, it sort of nailed it for me. There's something in this.
Okay, one more time. We're going to play the first part's forward, and then it goes the reverse speech, the second part, and then slowed down reverse speech. Ain't got no clue what I've been saying. Very, very interesting. All right. Now, I think number four is a new one. So do you want to give an intro to this clip?
Yeah, so this clip here, I was in short, my daughter's mother. I raised her son, so as you know, as stepdad, and he was singing to me down the microphone, and I did a reversal on his speech, and he says something very interesting to me. This reversal.
All right, so here we're going to go. We're going to play. This is your stepson, and reversal on him.
Red jelly, green, red, blue, green, red, black and blue, green. Who's my dad? Who's Batman? Who's my dad?
Now, wait a second, Pete. Pete, the eccentric magician, wizard. Yeah. I heard that clear as day. That says, "Who is my dad?"
Who is my dad? Now, there's an extension to that which I'm not 100% definite on it, but if you listen to the rest of it, I'm pretty sure that I heard that I hear, "Who is my dad? He left me, he couldn't bear me, and he left home."
Oh my goodness, I have goosebumps. Okay, let's listen. And the forward version of this at first is clearly your boy
Just
singing.
yeah, just singing the song "Red, Yellow, Green" about colours. Yeah.
Okay, and he's singing to you, and this is a moment between you. Okay, let's listen, folks.
Red, yellow, green, red, blue, green, red, red, and blue, green, wool, mud, wool, memory, relative, wool, mud, wool, memory, relative.
I definitely heard in the second one, "Couldn't bear me," but then it I couldn't make out the final word. Let's play
Yeah,
that one.
that's
Wool, memory, relative.
Who couldn't bear me, and what did you think it said?
Andy left home, but I'd say it could be a little bit. It's a little bit ambiguous. Ambiguous. So for that one, that's why I just tend to stick with the "Who is my dad" really, because do you know what I mean? I'd be lying to say that I think that it says that at the end.
Red and blue, green, wool, mud, wool, memory, relative. Wool, mud, wool, memory, relative.
Couldn't bear me, and he left home. I hear that very clearly now. Yeah, and what's interesting is, as a paranormal researcher, it bears such a similarity in quality to electronic voice phenomena. There is a little bit of distortion. There's also a tonality to it that reminds me of when you're listening to the dead speak, where it's very cryptic. It's codified in a sense. It bears so many meaning in one small short gap, and we've noticed that in EVP that the messages will be more symbolic, like he knows who his dad is, but it's like, who is my dad? Couldn't bear me and left home. And what's so interesting is that it's like this boy singing his heart out, essentially, and telling the story of one of the things that affects so many young men in life when their father a biological father isn't present for them. It destabilizes them on deep levels. That is fascinating. Good Lord, eccentric Pete.
So that's one of the reasons I've always treasured that reversal.
That is very treasured. And how do you still have contact with your stepson?
Sadly not, no, but it's just one of those, isn't it?
One of those situations.
But I really do hope one day that that I will get to play it to him, because I really would like him to hear it.
Well, it's very clear that you have a great amount of love and connection with him, and we have a couple more on those same lines, don't we? As if I'm understanding this correctly, with 4B, 4C, and 4A, 4B, and 4C. These are still from your stepson?
No, these. So these are recordings of a friend of mine's daughter. We recorded these last year. So she has autism, and certainly at the time she wasn't speaking many words at all. I mean, even now as a 4-year-old, she's speaking some very basic, like hellos and things like that. But the reversals are quite are interesting, to say the least. And there's a really nice one in there too.
Oh, good. Before we move on, I wanted to ask, how old was your stepson at the time of those reversals?
I believe he was 6.
Okay, so the reason I ask is because it's clear that, and now we're about to move on to your friend's daughter, who has autism, and she's 4. So it appears as though there's more evidence that there's something paranormal going on, because these children who are not capable of overly complex thought, their reversals are often more complex than their forward speech. So let's go ahead and listen. Should we play 4A?
Please.
Okay, 4A. Let's play it. Okay, so I hear the forward speech at first. It's just sort of gibberish, and I'll just play it quickly. Sort of like da da da. And then in reverse, we have. Do you want to give us some background there, Pete?
I hate this juice. She's protesting at the what she's been given to drink.
Okay, let's see. I hate juice. I can hear that.
I hate this juice.
This is not apparent to me, but I understand that there's a tempo factor with these two, which is also a parallel with EVP. Oftentimes, the spirit people seem sped up in their speech, like when you increase the tempo and you have Alvin and the Chipmunks, kind of, right?
Right. Okay.
The small little words can elude you. Okay, so should we go to 4C?
Okay.
Oh, I mean 4B.
No, 4B even.
4B. Okay, do you want to give a little bit of preamble for this one? Because this one's a bit of a doozy, I think.
I'd just like to think that maybe daughter's trying to say something to mum and dad.
All right, let's listen. Okay, we're gonna play that. We're gonna play this clip here. Let's try this. Okay, I think I hear.
Right, that's out of sequence for what I was trying to say about. It should have been 4B you was playing, not 4C. Sorry.
Oh, I mislabeled them. But anyway, we're on.
Sorry, we can talk about this one, okay?
So I heard.
So this is what I think she was trying to say to mum and dad. Let's just clarify that.
Okay, so I hear someone is a slut. Let's play this again. Okay, can you give us any backstory here?
I can quite clearly hear in this one, Simone is a slut. And I will say, I wasn't aware that she had an Auntie Simone when I heard this reversal either.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So she does have an Auntie Simone, and she's going to
She does have an Auntie Simone, yes.
That
and just for the record, she's not a slut.
Auntie Simone is not a slut, people, but this is out of the mouths of babes here. Here's where my psychic ability comes into play. I have an idea that just came to me.
Okay.
What if this child who's saying this is a reincarnation of a child that her Auntie Simone was going to have but had to abort at one point in her life, and Simone carries her own guilt about having had an abortion, and because she's so prim and proper, perhaps sees that as her deepest, darkest secret. That's what comes to me psychically. Now, of course, that would have to get you would have no way of knowing that, but
no, I would need to verify that, so I couldn't honestly say.
Very interesting. Well, let's go to a lighter note. There's one more from this one, and I mislabeled them, and then I predicted that I had mislabeled them because even though this one is labeled C on my computer, I thought this one was the one we should have played just now. So this one, do you want to give a preamble to that before we play it?
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, that I'd like to think this one is just is a daughter saying to mum and dad just something
personal to her parents. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the 4-year-old girl with autism. So let's give this a listen. And just as a reminder, the forward speech will be normal, and then there will be two versions of the reverse speech for you to listen to. Let's play.
Yeah.
Oh, now that's beautiful. I hear that so clearly. I love you. So let's play that again. Oh, what a nice message. That definitely cleansed the palate after the last one.
It doesn't need any explaining that one at all, does it?
I love you.
Clear.
That's very beautiful. So now that's interesting. So you've done these recordings on a child with autism. What made you want to try reverse speech with this one?
The reason I wanted to try, again, going back to David John Oates' studies, he hypothesizes that we learn to speak in reverse before we learn to speak forward, and eventually they sort of like just merge into each other. So I figured that even as a 3-year-old, as she was at the time of the recordings, that maybe because her talking ability was obviously of someone much younger, then I just wondered whether or not it would sort of show. How can I put it?
You thought it might show. In other words, you thought it might show that they're within her, even though she's got some cognitive.
Even though she's got like cognitive issues, that she's able to, that she is actually communicating. It's not just babble. But
Very
sadly, I mean,
well, if this holds up, you're definitely onto something there. And in fact, just the implications of that with so many people who do have children suffering from autism. I mean, just think how this could be one window into listening to what your child is really trying to say.
Indeed.
All right. So now we move on. And the next one is clip number 5 we have here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce this concept here?
Yeah, so these clips, then clips 5 to 9. This is a friend of mine who came around to read some poetry, and his reversals are very clear. He's I only discovered, to be honest with you, I've had this poetry for absolutely years, and I only went through it for this show, if I'm honest with you.
Really now? That's fascinating. Okay, so you've only just discovered these, in other words.
I've literally had them sitting on my hard drive for 10 years.
And you've listened to thousands of reverse speeches over 20 years, and you're saying that these have more clarity than the average?
A lot of these are, I would say these are very clear reversals.
You know what's interesting is that in these he's reading poetry. So we're going to go ahead and listen and play clip number 5.
Prolific offenders are mistake. Yes, there was enough. Yes, there was enough.
Now this one's one of those ones where I hear the reverse clearer than I hear the forward.
Yeah, I think he said in forward. I think he was saying something like prolific offenders here, prolific offenders here, or
Okay,
something like that.
Let me play that quick.
The reversal is most definitely clear, isn't it?
Yeah, let me play the forward again.
Prolific offenders are mistake.
Prolific offenders, obviously.
Prolific offenders are mistake.
Okay, and so now we're going to play the reversal.
Yes, there was enough. Yes, there was enough. Prolific offenders are mistake. Yes, there was enough. Yes, there was enough.
I hear, yes, there was enough evil.
Indeed, yes, there was enough evil. I don't necessarily have any answer for it, but it's certainly a very interesting, clear reversal.
Well, it's almost like who knows what was going through his mind when he wrote that, but I can so hear a poet talking in those terms, both reversal and forward. So let's play number 6. Do you want to introduce this one quick? Same one.
Yeah. So this reversal, I think he's thinking about me. If you just play the reversal, and then I'll say why I think he was thinking about me afterwards.
Sounds good. Here we go. We're playing clip number 6.
Doesn't seem to help, just causes illusions. Okay,
so I'm going to play the first part of it in the forward.
Doesn't seem to help, just causes illusions.
Doesn't seem to how, just causes illusions. And before I play the reversal once more, why don't you tell us what you feel?
Yeah, so what the actual reversal is, do you mean, or so
yeah.
How
why don't you talk about what you hear?
Yeah. So for me, in the reversal here, to me, he looks exhausted, but why hasn't he said it? It's now this one isn't a particularly easy reversal to hear. it's almost a bit sort of zeddy, if you like. But if you listen carefully, it's there.
Okay, let's play that again.
So
you're saying, to me, he looks exhausted. Why hasn't he said anything?
Yes, as if to say, I've maybe realised it's perhaps a bit late for me.
Okay, let's play. That's very interesting. Yeah, that one's not as easy to hear as the last one, but indeed, I can hear that. I can hear he looks exhausted to me. Why hasn't he said it? So at this point, you're recording these poems that he's reading to you. And what time was it? Like, were you exhausted, first of all?
It would have been, it would have been at night time, most definitely. It'd have been round after work, sort of evening time. So, yeah, chances are it was getting late and light. Maybe it was the way I was looking at him, who knows?
Okay, so let's play the next clip. Clip number 7. Is there anything you want to say before we play it?
It just makes me wonder whether this one is pretty much just in relevance to the reverse we've just heard.
Okay, so it might be connected. Let's listen.
Oh, dreaming, oh, dance. Tonight more than usual.
Okay, that one's much clearer to me. I hear tonight more than usual.
Tonight more than usual. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to clip number 9. Now 9 is the last clip from this recording session with him, right?
No, there's number 8. Yeah, there's number 8 first.
Oh, you know what? I don't have number 8 for some reason. So let's just go to number 9.
Yeah, I know why you don't. It's because it's because there's a question mark in there, I think, and I think it's because I've made the files in Linux. Sorry.
No problem. So let's just skip to number 9. Do you want to introduce that one?
I just hope he wasn't referencing me.
All right, let's listen.
I won't get swayed. The outside goer.
Okay, so do you remember what he said in forward first?
I won't get swayed.
Okay, let's listen. I won't get swayed.
I won't get swayed.
Okay, because you guys, for some of my listeners, they won't catch on to the Brit accent. So you won't get swayed is forward, and then this is the reverse.
The outside goer.
I hear you, old psycho.
Yeah, or you psycho, one of the two. Yeah, it's certainly something psycho.
Let's listen.
Wait, the outside goer.
No. Okay, so let's hope he wasn't referring to you. Did he come off as a sort of a well-maintained character, or was he a little erratic in his life, this friend of yours?
Yeah, to be fair, his life was a very topsy-turvy at the time, so.
Okay, so that's very interesting because these clips, as you said, reverse speech often tells the truth about what's going on internally with a person. Now, clip number 10 here, do you want to say anything to introduce it?
Yes, certainly. So this is going to be clips 10 to 15. So I used to participate in an online music group called D Music. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was a small online community for independent music artists. And in fact, there's 2 sets of recordings which are both from people from D Music, oddly enough. So the first one, this was a woman who, she never used to make music, but she contributed poetry. So these are some of her poetry, and these are very intimate reversals.
Very nice. So more poetry. That's interesting. So you're pulling a lot of these from different people reading poetry. So let's listen to clip number 10.
Turn safely to Christmas.
I definitely hear Christmas in there. Do you remember what the forward speech on that was?
Do you know what? I wish I'd have written the forward speech with them, because half the time I'm just remembering like the reverse speech, if you know what I mean. So if you
Right.
just play it again, I should be able to hear it, hopefully.
Let's try once more.
Return safely to house. Listeners.
It came safely to her, I think it was.
Okay, so you're just capturing a fragment of a sentence, but you're isolating it down to the reverse speech. So this one says something about Christmas. You said Happy Christmas?
Yeah, Happy Christmas for that one.
Very nice. Okay, so let's move on to the next clip number 11.
The devil whispered in my ear, I am not the world. I am not the world.
Okay, I definitely heard the forward clip says, the devil whispered in my ear.
The devil whispered in my ear.
And then the reverse clip says,
I am not the world.
I am mixed up.
So what about you?
I am mixed up, so what about you? And this is it in a slower version here.
I am not the world.
Yeah, I can hear that. That was very clear. Very interesting. Now clip number 12 along the same line, same poet, right?
Same poet, yeah.
To my surrender.
To my surrender.
Never sounded.
Okay, so she says, to my surrender.
To my surrender.
And then the reversal says, what did you hear?
I'd never sell this.
I'd never sell this.
I'd never sell it. I'd never sell it.
Oh, that's very clear.
So maybe in relation to her poetry, maybe it's too personal to sell, or
too deep.
Or she wasn't confident enough to sell it. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Now you said this fragment from this poetry goes to clip number 15. I think you said.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Now 15 didn't appear.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a shame. That is.
Don't worry about it. What I'm thinking is
that was a really good one as well. But we can live without that one.
I was going to say, look, let's do the most important one from these clips. But if it was number 15, is there a second better one, or should we move on to the next batch?
Yeah, let's move on to the next batch. That's cool.
Yeah. Now, I'm thinking we've heard a lot of good ones from your own personal interactions with people one-on-one, which is very interesting because you have more ability to, versus the bands or famous people, you have more ability to verify some of the backgrounds. Like, for instance, with the little girl whose auntie was named Simone, and you didn't know that she had an Aunt Simone when you had heard the reverse speech, which really speaks to you not going looking for patterns, right? Because you heard the name Simone, and then you said,
yes.
And they're like, wait a second, she has an Auntie Simone. So it can't be you contriving these things. Now, we're going to start moving towards some more famous people that might be of interest. But before we do, did you have any in particular, before we get to more of the famous people that stand out to you that we should listen to?
Yeah, this just maybe clips 16 and 17.
Okay, great. Clip 16 and 17. So why don't we give us a little introduction to clip number 16?
Yes. So again, this was off the same online music forum, D Music, and there was a guy on there who used to do like a weekly radio show, if you like, of just like all the best music that he found on the site that he liked, and he would talk and also play his guitar and stuff as well. But so his kids were in the room whilst he was recording his show. And
do you remember what the forward speech was on this one, or should we just jump in?
I really don't remember the forward speech. I really wish I'd have written them. I really wish I'd have written them in the descriptions, to be honest with you. But
that's all right. So we're just going to play this one, jump in, see what we get.
And I got a purple one.
So I heard that. How about Madonna?
Yeah, how about Madonna? So what I found really interesting about this one is just the fact it was a guy doing a show about independent music and independent artists. And the poor girl's like, I don't know any of this stuff. What are you doing? Play something I know.
How about Madonna? All
How
right,
about Madonna?
Let's listen once more.
And I got a purple one. I will look on it.
And for the record, I hear the child saying at first, I've got a purple one.
And I
I've got a purple one, yeah.
And I've got a purple one. Let's play that.
And I got a purple one.
And there's another child making a noise in the background, but we're going to dismiss that. Now the reversal. How about Madonna?
I will look on it.
That's very good. Very good. Okay, clip number 17. Do you want to say
clip number 17? Yeah, so I think this was Dad being a little bit impatient with his kids whilst he's trying his best to record a radio show.
Okay, let's take a listen.
2 Vegemite sandwiches.
Okay, so the forward speech says
2 Vegemite sandwiches.
would you two like some sandwiches or something like that?
Right, he's Australian, so he's saying 2 Vegemite sandwiches.
Oh, Vegemite sandwiches. Okay, and then here's the reversal. I hear sit your ass down, Miss Davies.
Sit your ass down, Miss Davies, which is the family name.
Miss Davies is the family. Okay, Davies is the family name. Okay, let's listen once more. Would you like some Vegemite sandwiches? Forward, and then reverses sit your ass down, Miss Davies.
2 Vegemite sandwiches.
I can hear the tone too. It's that tone that my best friend who's a dad has. He's like, would you like some ice cream? But you know he's really thinking like, shut up. That's great. That's great. All right, so we're moving on to clip number 19 here. Now, give us a little intro to this new clip.
Right. Okay. So you asked me to do some reversals on a clip by Dr. Stephen Greer. I've never heard of this guy at all, so it's completely new to me. So whatever reversals I found. So if you find anything interesting, it might be something you know about. But to be honest with you, I know nothing of the guy.
Right. So you just did these clips for this show, and Dr. Stephen Greer, just to give a little background, is an avid proponent for disclosure within the UFO community. So he's sort of an advocate of raising awareness on government cover-ups around what they might know about the UFO phenomena in the States. And so the reason why, here's the little background on my end. The reason why I wanted you to do some reversals on Dr. Greer is because when you and I talked about him, you didn't really know anything about him. And I kept hush-hush about it, but I had personally felt he's a little fishy, and literally when I say fishy, I feel like when he talks, he gives lectures, I feel like he drones on and goes on about things in a verbose way, in sort of a distracting way. Like he's constantly throwing things up into people's faces as he talks that distract from the main point and won't give really straight answers. And that really stood out to me about him. And then I also noticed a lot of his work going around trying to disseminate information about UFOs comes with a lot of crowdfunding and a lot of support and ways that you can donate money. And it's not clear to me exactly how he uses that money. So I just thought he's a bit of a fishy character. So you know nothing about him. And here's our first clip from Dr. Greer.
Trust everyone's here. Grace, no research.
Oh, now this is hilarious. Do you know what that for? I'm going to play the forward clip here.
Trust everyone's here.
Treasure one's here. What is he saying forward there?
Right. So this would have been like pretty much at the start of the start of his talk. So he's basically saying, "I trust everyone's here."
I trust everyone's here, and then the reverse is this.
There is no research.
There is no research.
There is no research.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Spaghetti-O. We're opening a can of worms here. All right, let's go to number 20. And so clip number 20, I assume, is also from Dr. Greer.
Yes.
Okay, let's jump in. Here we go.
When we detonated those bombs.
Okay, so forward speech says, when we detonated those bombs, let's listen to the reverse. That one's a little harder to hear now. So can you give us some insight on that?
Yes, I observe the. So I'll try again myself. Observe the day in bad news.
Okay, let's play it again.
When we detonated those bombs,
When we detonated those bombs,
observe the day in bad news.
observe the day in bad news. This is going to play now again in slow motion or slower tempo.
Observe the day in bad news.
That's interesting. Now that's one of those reversals that seems to coincide with what's being said forward.
Just isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not always about the reverse in the sense that your reverse speech is going to be the opposite of what you're saying forward. It's that your reverse speech is always true. And that's a good, important distinction, isn't it? Because he says that observe the day that we dropped those bombs, and then observe the day in bad news. Let's listen again.
When we detonated those bombs, observe the day in bad news. Observe the day in bad news.
That's good. That's really a good distinction. Okay. So let's go on to clip number 21. Here we go. Jumping into Dr. Greer.
You don't go through interstellar money.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now I've never heard these. So this is hilarious. So the forward speech says,
you don't go through interstellar.
You don't go through interstellar space. And then the reverse says,
interstellar money.
Try answering it without money. That's hilarious. Oh my God. So you're doing these reversals on this guy. You know nothing about it. You haven't done your background search. What are your impressions as you're hearing this?
I just think there's something a bit fishy about you. You're not very honest at all. So that's my thoughts on it.
That's hilarious. Let's try listening again here.
You don't go through interstellar money.
You know, that could be the voice of his conscience speaking, or his soul, right? Try answering it without money. Oh my. Okay, let's go forward here. Now,
I think it might probably go to 23 for you, because 22 again had a question mark in it. So I think that's why you never got it.
That's correct. I only have 23. So do you want to do a little intro to this one? It's still Dr. Greer, right?
Yes, indeed. This is Dr. Greer, but this one, just all I say to you, notice a slight accent change.
Oh, interesting. Okay, here we go. Let's listen.
Material asset.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so his forward speech says
material asset.
Material asset. And then the reverse says
a fat Irishman.
A fat Irishman.
A fat Irishman.
Irishman. But he says it in an Irish accent.
And it's got like a sort of Irish twang to it as well. I can't do a very good Irish accent.
Oh, that's great. Let's listen again.
Material asset. A fat Irishman. A fat Irishman.
A fat Irishman. Irishman.
I know. I don't know who he's referring to, but so I think there's some Irishman that's like upset him in the past.
Well, that's the other thing. We have to take into context the entire speech he was giving at the time. Of course, for the purpose of this radio show, we can't play clips that long, but that's very interesting. And these are things that could be confirmed. So we're going to move on from Dr. Greer, because I don't want to get a lawsuit against me here. Frankly, we're getting into dicey waters here. But that's very interesting. And I didn't really tell you that I had felt he was fishy beforehand. That's not something I had shared with you. I just wanted you to go in clear and blank, right? And even with you listening to these clips for the first time on your end, and I remember you told me, look, I've got some interesting stuff, but I don't want to tell you anything about it because I want your reaction live on the show.
Yeah.
You were getting all of the same impressions that I got. That is hilarious.
Yeah, in fairness, I've got about 60 reversals from him from that same 2-hour show.
Oh my goodness! All right, so moving right along, what have we got up next?
So to finish up with, we've got some reversals from Trump.
President Donald Trump, folks. Here we go. Now, this is what we've all been really waiting for. This is probably the singular reason why reverse speech even exists, isn't it?
Yeah.
Clip number 24. Do you want to give us a little intro to this? President Trump.
Hold on. No, 24 isn't Trump.
Oh,
24. So we're still on Greer. We need to go to.
actually, let's play 24. We're still on Greer. Let's just do 24 quick, and then tell me after we're done this one. Tell me which one to start for Trump. Here we go.
Okay.
Our big
Collection
finale.
of people from different walks of life.
Okay, collection of people from different walks of life. That's forward. Let's hear reverse.
Alles gewoon redden voor liefde. De schelle. Alles gewoon redden voor liefde. De schelle.
I was hot and waiting for Ethan in the shower.
I was hot and waiting for Ethan in the shower. That's what I hear.
Okay, now
Who knows?
Now I regret saying because Dr. Stephen Greer has a wife and children, but well, could we be mistaken? Let's take another listen.
Collection of people from different walks of life. Alles gewoon redden voor liefde. De schelle. Alles gewoon redden voor liefde. De schelle.
Oh my goodness. Now, is there a way we can be mistaken, Peter?
I can't hear. I just can't unhear it. It's all I can hear. So
I was hot and waiting for the evening in the shower. Maybe maybe his talk was in the evening, and maybe he was hot, and so he took a cold shower at the hotel in preparation for his talk. That's what we're going to go with. Okay, moving right along. President Trump. Which one are we starting with?
yeah, sorry. Yeah, so it's number 33.
I also can't unhear that last clip, by the way, but we're just going to say there's multiple interpretations.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so give us an intro here to President Trump, clip number 33.
Yeah, so it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if he's just reflecting on events that have happened.
Okay, so we're going to hear. Do you remember what the foreword is? Just say yes or no, and I'll go
No.
in. Okay, let's go forward and.
America cannot do.
Okay, so the forward speech is America cannot do, and now we're going to hear the reverse. Okay, I hear we've done nasty, but then the final word is a bit obscured for me. Can you give some clarity?
Yeah, so we've done nasty crime.
All right, let's replay.
America cannot do. We've done nasty crime.
We've done nasty crime.
Very interesting. That definitely sounds like it's a real reversal on Trump. We've done nasty crime. So what's the first part?
America cannot do.
America cannot do. And then we've done.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know the full context of what he is saying, but again, this reversal seems to indicate that it's not inconsistent with what he's saying forward. Because he might be answering to something like a criticism of America, right? And that's what his speech could be to somewhat tilted toward. But anyway, let's continue. Clip number 34. Now, this is the second Trump clip. Do you want to give a little intro here?
So with this clip, it might suggest that he's saying that he might be responsible for something.
Okay, let's go forward.
Stay true to our course.
Stay true to our course, he says forward. Now this is the reverse. Okay, what do you hear there, Peter?
So I caused this shit.
All right, let's play it again. I caused this shit.
Or I caused the shit. Yes, I must admit I was a bit vague about the or this with this reversal.
All right, let's play it once more.
Stay true to our course.
All right, that's very interesting. So that's a pure reversal where he's saying the opposite of or not at all anything connected to what he was saying forward, but it's almost like an admission from his unconscious mind.
Yeah, that's what I was getting from that one.
All right, so we're going to go to clip number 35, and why don't you introduce this one?
Um, yeah. So this clip, again, it sort of makes me wonder whether he's just trying to say that maybe. I don't really understand enough about American politics, but it's just the fact that maybe Trump shouldn't be, Trump shouldn't be there. Oh, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think I might need to redo that. Sorry.
No. I think you need to just accept when things fumble out a bit. It's okay. It's okay. Just go with it because it conveys emotion, right? It's part of who you are. It's good. We'll reverse speech and then let's just reverse speech your whole part of the show and then it'll just be perfect, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into clip number 35. And it seems as though, as you said, Trump is commenting in reverse speech on whether he should even be in office or not. So let's give this a listen.
With merchants and militiamen.
Okay, so forward speech says with merchants and militiamen. I hear I'm a shill and that's, but then the last part is a little vague to me. What do you hear?
Yes, on the last word, I'm getting I'm a shill, and that's destructive.
Let's play once more.
With merchants and militiamen.
Oh, that's much clearer when you explained it, I found. I could hear that's destructive. So perfect. Let's play once more here. I'm a shill and that's destructive. Fascinating. So now, that's one of those reversals that I don't necessarily think is something that he disagrees with. I think, judging on what I've sensed by Trump's character, he didn't want to go in and take orders. He wanted to go in and just make things happen.
Yes, pretty much do his own thing, which was against what the establishment actually want. But I don't want to be over conspiratorial about it. If you know what I mean. So
that's right. But this could be actually what he really thinks and feels. And he said things like this on the news. He's actually said, it's like, look, I want to do this and this and this, but it's not always that simple. And that was a big admission for him. Okay, so we're going to move on to clip number 36. Let's just jump into this one and shoot first, ask questions later. Here we go.
Fierce devotion.
Okay, so the forward speech says fierce devotion.
Fierce devotion.
Then the reversal says something about sure of the truth. Can you clarify?
Yeah, again, I can't quite make out whether it's make sure of the truth or when you're sure of the truth. But that's sort of the crux of what I hear on this one.
All right, let's replay. I kind of hear it is a high tempo, but I kind of hear when you're sure of the truth. Let's one more time.
Fierce devotion.
Now that's interesting because this reversal doesn't speak ill of Trump. It almost, if it's coming from his unconscious mind, it's almost like he stands by his convictions, even if everyone else disagrees with them. He really believes in himself.
Yep, totally. That's what I got from that one.
That's something I always felt too about Trump. I've been very conflicted about him because on one hand, I think he's very bad as a world leader, but I kind of find him charming as a character. And I also think he's spiritually depraved. I think he's got all kinds of personal problems from his father. I think there's a lot of dimensions to that man, as there are to all of us. But never once do I feel like he's disingenuous in some sense. It's a very conflicting thing, that character, that is Trump. All right, let's move on to clip number 37.
God bless you.
Okay, forward is God bless you.
God bless the military. And God bless self.
Okay, so God bless you, God bless the military, and God bless. And then we're going to hear the reversal.
Bless self. No, net. Here is nothing but self. No, we self. No.
Self, no, net, There is none but shall die. We shall die.
We shall die.
Yeah, now this one I purposely left gibberish in between, so there's just something which is a bit unintelligible in the middle, which sounds something like next year's Delimbers, which obviously doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But what I will say, I mean, I was actually watching a video earlier on YouTube, and I do get that God bless you in reverse is we shall die. It just is. I mean, so no matter how you try and say it, you say God bless you, and you will get we shall die in reverse. So I don't want to hold a great deal of validity to that reversal.
Fair enough. Let's play it once more.
God bless you. God bless the military. And God bless self die. Here is the limit. Self die. We shall die.
Shall die. Here is none but shall die. We shall die.
All right, so we're going to go to clip number 38. Do you want to go ahead and introduce this one? I feel like you might have a bit of a backstory.
Yeah, I really like this clip. This was certainly one of the funnier clips from the speech. If I remember, the forward speech is something on the lines of "and now we begin the celebration," and yeah, to me, it's quite clear where he might have been spending his because this talk was on the 4th of July, so to me it would be quite clear where he might have been spending his 4th of July.
Okay, very interesting. Let's give this a listen.
We will now begin our celebration.
Okay, so the forward speech of Trump says, "We will now begin our celebration," and here's the reversal.
The sheriff bill is starting to get high and low.
The sheriff bill is starting to get high and low.
Oh, it says, I hear something, Bill, it's time to Carnegie. What can you clarify that?
Yeah, so this I heard. I mean, it seems like he's almost referred to Bill, maybe like Bill Clinton, as a Frenchman, like Monsieur Bill. So, like, Monsieur Bill, it's time to get high. I love you.
Oh, okay. Let's
So
listen.
maybe he might be spending his 4th of July with the Clintons.
Maybe let's give this a listen. Well, and it wasn't. He didn't say Hillary. He only said Bill. So
we will now begin our celebration. The sheriff bill is starting to get high and low.
The sheriff bill is starting to get high and low.
Very, very interesting. Trump.
I think it is a pretty funny one to sort of finish up with. So.
Well, so did you find with Trump, in comparison to the others, it was also providing a lot of good material?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, I did go through another video as well, and found some more reversals of Trump as well. So, but yeah, he's pretty talkative in his reverse speech as well, for sure.
Well, we have one more reverse speech to play, and it is a Trump one, and
right,
it may trump the rest. But before we get to it, again, I guess I want to just talk to you for a second about this. We know that it is essentially, from what we're hearing, a truer voice of our unconscious mind, lathing or interweaving its messages into our speech backwards. Of the people that you've experimented with, do you find any sort of patterns, like, for instance, more dishonest people, their reverse speech is the opposite of what they're saying, versus more honest people, the reverse speech is congruent and in tandem with what they're saying? Like, the surprising thing that I'm finding listening to these clips between Dr. Greer and Trump, Dr. Greer seems to be that his reverse speech is sort of nasty and demeaning to the things he's saying forward, and whereas Trump seems to be completely the same, both forward and backwards. He's an asshole either way.
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, it does seem. I mean, particularly if we think back to the reversals of the woman reading the poetry. You know, I didn't necessarily know her personally. Ultimately she was an avatar, but she came across as like a very kind, calm, caring, and loving person, and that reflected in her reversals. So
true.
yeah, I do think there's some the validity and it's the fact it's to what sort of person you are anyway, as to what your reversals are going to be.
Your truest self will appear in the reverse. Okay, so let's listen to this final clip with President Trump. Do you just off the hand? Do you remember what he says forward?
No, not at all. Sorry.
All right, let's try. Here we go.
Beautiful door.
Okay, beautiful door. Let's see what the reverse says.
World War III. World War III.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let's try again.
Beautiful door. World War III. World War III.
World War III.
World War III. That's definitely what I heard.
Beautiful door. World War III. World War III.
Now,
I think, if I'm right, I'm sure the full context of the text is a beautiful door will open.
a beautiful door will open, and then let's see.
Beautiful door. World War III. World War III.
Now, you don't doctor anything. You simply reverse the speech and listen to it in headphones, and then take a section where you feel there's some kind of a phrase, right?
Absolutely, yes. Of course, no doctrine.
Okay, and so this is Trump saying World War III, but is he announcing that he thinks there's going to be, or is this something his unconscious mind is afraid of? Like how do we interpret this?
I don't really know. I just hope it's just him, like just hoping it's not going to happen, really.
This is what I like about you as a researcher type. You don't claim to know the whole story. You know, like with Dr. Stephen Greer and a lot of UFO-y type people and different conspiratorial theorists, they always know why the aliens are here. They have this elaborate explanation, like they've got insider info. And when you probe a little bit, it's like, well, how did you find that out? And they'll either give you a lot of gobbledygook, or they won't have an answer, and they'll distract you with other information.
Yeah, quite exactly. I don't want to say anything that I can't, necessarily verify. Just pretty much only what I hear.
Yeah, you know what you hear, but you don't know why. And so let's listen again to this Trump clip. This will open new doors, and then the reversal.
Beautiful door. World War III. World War III.
That's a little chilling. Well, we know from some of the clips that we've heard that they're symbolic. They're not always directly related to a truism, right? Like with regards to the little 4-year-old with autism. She names her auntie, and apparently she calls her a slut, but it's not necessarily that her auntie was a slut. Like I said, I sense almost like her auntie had miscarried or had an abortion and felt guilty about that, and that it's the same soul that's reincarnated through Simone's sister, who is now their daughter, their autistic daughter, right? And that's my psychic sense on it. And so, in a sense, that child could be channeling through her original mother, her Auntie Simone, who was, if her Auntie Simone was her original mother, the guilt she felt for having an abortion. Now that's me going way probably beyond your comfort level.
Yeah, because I can't necessarily verify that,
but it just goes to show that perhaps some of these voices, our subconscious voices or reverse speech voices, are actually expressing truisms that we feel that aren't even necessarily true in every case, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, my goodness, that's a lot to ponder. And do you ever take people's recording and do reverse speech without notifying them, and then use it to kind of get a gauge on what you think about them?
No, not at all. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you. You sent me other audio clips whilst we've been talking over this last week, and I've not reversed a single one of them.
Right. So you haven't reversed my audio
respect.
with my permission. Oh, that's very, so you're ethical about it. That's interesting. Do you think there could be any Secret Service programs who already know about this, who use this technology?
Well, I don't know the full details on it, but again, reading something on reversespeech.com, I think the CIA were quite hot to drop it. They were interested at first, but once they realised its implications, they were quite hot to drop it, though.
As far as we know.
It's probably as far as we know.
Indeed. I mean, its implications are staggering. It's almost, if it is true, it could be a new lie detector in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting if it was actually, if it could actually be used, in court cases and so on. But like I say, most probably, it still needs more research.
Definitely, it is one of those things that needs a tremendous amount more research and exploration, and of course, there must be ways to set up blind studies and triple blind studies where the person doing the reverse speech or listening to the reverse speech didn't know what the forward speech said to begin with, and that to me is just a preliminary thing. Would be a great blind study.
Yeah, I mean, some tests have been done, like where there'll be two sets of people. One set of people will be given like 10 gibberish reversals, and the other set will be given 10 like audible, reversals like I've showed you tonight. And needless to say, the people listening to the gibberish can't make anything out. There is one thing I did want to say. Is in all of the reversals I've done, I'm yet to find a reversal of just intelligible words that don't make sense together. So in other words, I've never heard a conversation like digesters, Rizzler, lighter, beer bottle cap.
That's a really good point.
I'm sorry, it's just all things in front of me, but yeah.
No. If this were, in other words, right? If this were just a case of the audio version of pareidolia, where you're just finding words out of nonsense and they're just similar, you would expect it to be isolated words. You wouldn't expect it to be a fully formed sentence or phrase.
No, not at all.
Right, and that's the argument with EVP, and that's why I make the comparison between the two, because when you're capturing an electronic voice phenomenon of a ghost, it's oftentimes several words that are intelligible that actually spell out a phrase that makes sense, and it usually has to do with what's going on at the time of the recording. And that's the other thing with reverse speech. Not only is it several words putting together an intelligible phrase, it usually is loosely strung together, like with your stepson saying, "Who is my dad? I was a burden and he left me," right? And here he is singing to you, his stepdad, and having an emotional moment with you. And that's something that you had told me off the air too, which was that the best reverse speech usually comes when someone forgets that they're talking and is saying something that's connected to their emotional self.
Yeah. I feel if it's something a bit contrived, chances are it's not going to be as good, I don't think.
Except in the case where your friend was actually trying to mimic reverse speech on the answering machine. But then again, maybe his mind just sort of let go and you could hear it. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I say it's a difficult one, isn't it? I believe that it's certainly very interesting.
Well, thank you again for joining us and putting all the work into these reverse speech samples. Do you have any kind of website or anywhere where the audience can go and listen to it that I can link under the video?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a YouTube page. There's some pretty random stuff on there. I attempt to make music. I'm also interested in like weather satellite imagery. So you'll find loads of different stuff on my YouTube channel. So that's just, in fact, it's just Pete Johnson.
We'll put the link in below, and of course, maybe you'll upload some of these clips for the YouTube channel, and we will talk to you again, because I have a feeling you're going to be a friend of the show. You do a lot more than just reverse speech, and we actually met in an unusual way, didn't we? We met on a flat earther group.
Oh yes, that's a good point. I've just been muted for a week.
Exactly. And I want to go on record saying you and I are not flat earthers. We're more like fat earthers. I'm an
Fat
obese.
Earth as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm a big plump round earth, but we go on that flat earth group to sort of get the lay of the land, see what the psychosis of the week is, and try to put some sense into those people. And you do such a good job on that group. And as we got to talking, all these things in common, the radio and paranormal and reverse speech, and that's the other thing, just to our credit and to your credit especially, just because we're interested in the paranormal doesn't mean we're gullible and we believe in anything. Obviously we're not flat earthers, so there's some hope, right?
Absolutely.
All right, well, you have a great night, and thanks again for joining us on this episode of the channel, and we will be back with another episode pretty soon. Stay tuned.
Cheers, Frank.